Hello fellow gamers, this is Tim, SamY7, and I'm going to talk about Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, the Dungeon Master's Guide, or DMG. And this should be a little bit shorter than my Monster Manual videos, at least I can hope. The book talks about how DMing is basically part art, part science, and it goes into pretty good detail about how to make a campaign setting, how to stock dungeons. I think it's very good. I think this book itself is very good, especially in the appendixes, for coming up with interesting things to put in dungeons. It goes into a lot more detail, and there's a lot more random charts to see, what is the room, what's the room used for, what's in the room, what's the color of the room, and I'll get into that. Some quotes that I wanted to use here. It says, use this written material as your foundation and inspiration. Then explore the creative possibilities you have in your own mind to make your game something special. Thought that was pretty cool. Character races and classes will nearly be the same between campaign worlds. Kind of disagree with this. I don't know. Similarly, you must avoid the tendency to drift into areas foreign to the game as a whole. Such campaigns become so strange as to no longer be AD&D. I think this is where I disagree with Gary Gygax. It almost sounds like every campaign setting has to have dwarves, elves, humans, halflings, the same classes, kind of have the same sort of ideas on things. And I kind of utterly reject that. I like strange settings. I like being able to play different races. I like to be able to try to play something different than the norm. So these kind of struck me the wrong way, I think. Next thing he wrote in here that I thought was interesting. As this book is the exclusive precinct of the DM, you must view any non-DM player possessing it as something less than worthy of honorable death. Gary Gygax basically saying, players stay out, and I think we've kind of gotten away from that in, I don't know, more modern games. I think companies want you to buy the DMG as well. Hence, like Pathfinder putting out the DMG stuff in with the player stuff in the core rulebook. Another quote. In fact, what we have attempted to do is to cram everything vital to the game into this book, so that you will be as completely equipped as possible to face the ravenous packs of players lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce upon the unwary referee and devour him or her at the first opportunity. So watch out for those players, guys. They'll eat you alive. And here's another quote. Welcome to the exalted ranks of the overworked and harassed, whose cleverness and imagination are all too often unappreciated by cloddish characters whose only thought in life is to loot, pillage, and slay. Thought that was kind of cool. Yes, we are an underappreciated lot at times, even in this small niche community that we've made. I guess, I don't know, the gamers seem to be a pretty small, portion of the population, but I don't know. Hopefully that turns around and changes. We'll see. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. Talks more about GMs. It says that players fail to appreciate the hours of preparation which went into the creation of what they aim to destroy as cheaply and quickly as possible. There's a nice dice and statistics section in the book. It goes through and says the different different chances you have of different things. Let's see here. It goes through the different types of generation of ability scores. The 4d6 drop the lowest, a range is desired. 3d6 12 times, a range, as you choose. You basically just pick, which ones are the highest out of those selections. Roll 3d6 6 times for each stat, choose the highest. 3d6 in order for 6 stats, do this 12 times. Pick the best group of stats. They're just different ways to generate your statistics. Let's let's see here. It has an interesting section that says that stats are harder to increase after 16, and it goes through a different reasoning for this. Basically, it's just trying to kind of cap the player's strength and ability and power level. There's secondary skills listed in the AD&D DMG, which I thought was pretty cool. These are more like careers that you might have in, basically a medieval English, well, not English, but European setting. Starting level is, of course, assumed at first, but it suggests starting new players at higher levels if they're joining an ongoing campaign. Let's see here. Character age matters, especially since some of the monsters can age you, and eventually you'll die, of course. So that's something that seems to matter more in this game than some of the other ones. There's disease and parasites. Explain some of the races and their stats in more detail than in the player's handbook. Which again, like some of the organization of what's in the player's handbook, what's in the DMG, what's in the monster manual, seems kind of strange to me. I think maybe some of the later editions of D&D got that better, and I think definitely some of the retro clones have improved on that. There's pages of information on followers and hirelings, and that's something that doesn't exist really in later editions of D&D. I know people said, well, old school games are killer dungeons. Well, there's a couple things that basically make that not so. That I think maybe D&D kind of got a bad rap for that, or maybe just certain GMs like to kill players. But the hirelings are basically like the red shirts from Star Trek. You send them to check the door, open things, and of course they have morale. So if you treat them like crap, no one's really going to want to work for you. So you have to kind of be nice to them at the same time as using them as cannon fodder. It's kind of an interesting balance. Just with the killer D&D thing, there are some save or die things that I think the game's kind of gotten away from. But I don't know. I think with any game, the GM can basically make it however he wants to. If he doesn't like certain aspects of it, he can ignore it, or he can just do it a little bit differently. There's information on thieves and assassins. This section kind of made me mad too. I'm going to give a few more quotes. A&D is unquestionably humanocentric, with demi-humans, semi-humans, and humanoids in various orbits around the sun of humanity. I hate humans in fantasy settings. I think every setting has humans in there. I don't see the point of it. I play a human every single day of my life. Do I really want to? I don't know. I understand people wanting some sort of thing that they can latch onto and they know what a human's like, but I don't know. I don't like that the demi-humans are penalized and they're I don't know, they're just not given the same sort of abilities or freedom as the humans are. I don't like that humans are always the most adaptable in every single setting, it seems. I like settings that are a little bit weirder, like Empire of the Petal Throne and Talslanta and things like that. My Burning Heaven setting that I have a link for on my profile page is going to be an attempt to make a weird setting without humans. So I don't know, I just didn't like that at all. Sort of discusses how humans is a good way of relating to your character. I don't know. He basically states that a setting that is too weird will probably crash and burn. In my view, there are tons of traditional settings out there, and non-humanocentric settings are a breath of fresh air. Like I said, I don't really see the point of having humans in every single setting. With Empire of the Petal Throne, I think I kind of understand it because the setting is so intricate, and there is a lot of weird things in the setting. So starting out quick and easy would make sense because you have to kind of train the players about the setting itself as you're playing it out, in sort of a fluency play sort of idea. But I don't know. I just feel kind of pretty strongly about humans being the the god of the universe or whatever when it comes to player races. I'll see you in the next video.